A very good morning to you, our viewers. This is the Camnet Breakfast Show. My name is Sharon Kalimbula with my co-host Patrick Soko. Here in the studio, we're going to have a number of interviews, a number of different topics and conversations with our guests who will be appearing on the set a little later. Patrick, good morning.
Good morning, Sharon.
Why are you just ending on good morning, Sharon?
You want me to say anything extra? Like you're looking nice when you're not. Interesting. Interesting. But I'll give it to you. Okay. Oh, you're looking good.
Thank you. That's what it's supposed to. That's what gentlemen do.
You ain't saying the same.
I'm not sure about that, but you look quite okay.
Interesting. Well, like Sharon said, we have a number of interesting activities today on the Breakfast Show. We'll be talking about zooming the headlines, where we'll look at some stories that were making the headlines, such as that of the retirees and those Munyaule market traders. Interestingly, we also saw a story that came in the evenings where the Anti-Corruption Commission arrested the owners of the 48 houses.
Finally.
Yes, finally. Exactly. And we're going to also have our interviews today to discuss some of the pertinent issues that have emerged, especially this week.
Exactly. And a little later in the show, we're expecting the Resident Doctors Association President, Dr. Brian Samba. And if you are not aware, today is World AIDS Day, 1st December.
Exactly,
Patrick?
yes.
Yes, so we will be talking about that as well, and then the alleged COVID-19 mandatory vaccination that people are creating a hullabaloo about. Obviously, he will help us understand. Maybe he got more information on what the minister said, because yesterday there was a bit of clarification here and there.
The clarification that was not clarified.
Exactly. The clarification that was not clarified, because the ministry said we still stand by what we said, but at the same time we are not forcing people to take these vaccinations. You two out there can have your say on this conversation. Send us those messages on our Facebook page. Call us as well on the numbers that are scrolling on your screens from now onwards until the show ends. We can just be interacting on topics that you feel really are giving you a headache, and you want to give your comments on that. For now, we go into the morning boost and just see how we can keep ourselves fit.
Good morning, Camnet viewers, and welcome to a quick morning wake out. This is very good for you as you're working on your heart, you're working on your body to burn some fats in the body. Let's do this. It's going to be very basic. You have exercised before, you've never done it. This is the show for you. So, let's go. A warm-up is very good for you. Let's do a warm-up. So you march, that's your warm-up. I'm starting with my left leg. And very soon I'll start now introducing the moves we're gonna do for this morning. Let's go. So that was just your warm-up for you. We're gonna do the workout now. Okay, let's go. last one. And change. Matching. So that is very basic for you. I'm gonna combine the 4 moves together now, and then you're done with your morning workout. So do a matching, jumping jacks, and we're gonna punch some punches now. Okay, last one, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's put them together now. Let's go. Matching. Okay, so you've done that, and then now you're going to do a little bit of squats. Okay, so we're gonna do 40 of them. Open your stance, make sure that your back is well aligned. So I'm gonna do some squats now here. Watch me. 10 of them. Okay, let's go. That's 10. $20. Last 10. And 10. All right, that's it for today, and I'll see you again for another morning quick workout. Make sure that you tune in. This has been Isaac, your presenter, and I'm signing out.
One of the simplest exercises I think I would endeavor to venture in is what he does.
Really?
Yes.
But why don't you join him?
I'm not sure if it's simple though. It just sounds good because of the background music, I think. But then I'm not so sure if my body is willing to
But you can do that, because we saw the Minister of Health just doing the same aerobics just to keep fit. And Sharon is too young.
When was it's not about youngness or being old or something. It's about the willingness, but I'm not just sure I'm willing to do it.
Try to get into the scene, but like we always talk about this whenever Morning Boost is played, Sharon, it always reminds me of the need to exercise, which is important to ensure that we keep fit and ensure that we are able to beat some of the non-communicable diseases such as heart diseases, diabetes, and
the blood pressure,
yes,
that world, yeah. So yes, especially that today is World AIDS Day. We are specifically dedicating the second 30 minutes of our breakfast show to talking health, and that actually speaks to the day itself, to allow people or to encourage people to exercise and ensure that they do away with these non-communicable diseases, especially if you are on art. You need to keep fit
to avoid these other opportunistic infections,
exactly,
to take advantage of your immune system. And you know, there's a correlation between COVID-19 and HIV, because probably the response to COVID-19 is trying to overshadow the aspect of HIV. But we are being reminded, especially on this day when we are commemorating World AIDS Day, to ensure that we remember that actually HIV is with us, and
side by side.
Yes,
we don't
it's something
ignore the other.
Yeah,
because that's what many people in the health sector have been talking about. To say, okay, we've literally forgotten to talk about cancer, to talk about HIV, to talk about even malaria. It's barely talked about because of the COVID-19. But when you realize that COVID-19 actually becomes more severe when you have all these underlying diseases. I remember the other minister who was there, Dr. Chilupia, kept on reminding people to say underlying diseases, you know, people that are really, really affected of the COVID are those especially with underlying disease. And those underlying diseases include maybe the HIVs of that world, you know, the TBs and other things. But anyways, today is World Health, is World AIDS Day, and you out there can have a say on this.
Have you taken a test, Sharon?
Yes, I have. I can confidently say that. I'm actually wearing red. I think it speaks to that as well, coincidentally though.
Don't try to be clever.
Coincidentally, and that's why I say it coincidentally, meaning that my subconscious was reminding me to say, Sharon, do this.
Interesting. Well, if you, in case you haven't taken that step to ensure that you also get tested for HIV, it is that day when you can also take advantage of various services that the health providers will be giving out, especially during this day. We'll see a number of activities being lined up to ensure that people can be able to go in and ask about anything about HIV, understand. And nowadays things have changed. It's not like in the past where HIV was classified as a death sentence.
Exactly.
Now you can have HIV and live a normal life. So it's not like in the past when we had no response to the pandemic, where when you are diagnosed with HIV and you just feel it's the end for me. But for now, you can live a healthy and happy life with HIV, and you can take that step to ensure that you get to know your status. Talking about now, we're going to zoom in the headlines, where we'll also look at one story from the courts, and then we'll be talking to Miriam on the other side regarding this, what has been trending in the court and what to expect, especially this week. Talking about the court, it's a story involving the liquidator of KCM, Mr. Milingo Lungu, and we'll go straight into that.
The state-appointed provisional liquidator of Zambia's Konkola copper mines, KCM Milingolungu, Tuesday morning appeared before the magistrate court in Lusaka for continued hearing of his alleged theft and money laundering case. Mr. Lungu is accused of money laundering and stealing 4.4 million kwacha from Konkola copper mine, allegations which he has denied. He is said to have committed the said offense between May 2019 and September 2021. This morning, an accountant from First Alliance Bank, Clever Amenja, testified how he received a warrant from the Drug Enforcement Commission requesting for transaction documents relating to a transaction amounting to 4,004,000 kwacha, which was credited to an account that belonged to Munya & Company. During his testimony, Mr. Amenja said KCM has an account with FNB, and it was from this account that the 4.4 million was transferred to First Alliance Bank into the account of Munya & Company. However, when the state called their next witness, Zakaria Munya, to testify, the defense lawyers objected him giving his testimony before court on ground that he and the accused, Mr. Lungu, enjoy a lawyer-client relationship. At this point, the state requested for an adjournment to the 1st of December 2021 for them to respond to the concerns raised by the defense on why their next witness cannot proceed to give testimony before court. Following a response that will be given by the prosecution team, The court will decide whether to proceed and hear the testimony from Mr. Zakaria Munya or not. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Well, that was a court story which was done by Miriam Kaimba, our court reporter there. And we just want to get to understand more details regarding that story and when it is coming up and other stories Miriam is following up. We should have Miriam on the line. Miriam, are you there?
I'm there, Patrick. How are you?
Morning. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Yes, we want to get an update what's on the stories in the courts. There, we saw the case involving Mr. Milingolungu. How is that case going?
Okay, first, basically, to give you a brief background concerning this case. So, Mr. Milingolungu, who is KCM provisional liquidator, was arrested in November by the Drug Enforcement Commission on 2 counts of 1 count of theft and 1 count of money laundering. The theft case is alleged to have stolen 4.4 million kwacha. And he is alleged to have committed this offense between the 2nd of May 2019 and the 28th of September 2021. So you will understand that in 2018, this is the time where Mr. Milingolungu was appointed by the previous government to be the president for KPN. This was after the KPN had a legal battle with the data resources, a case which is still active in the Musaga High Court. The previous government had accused Binwega at the time of failing to honor the license conditions, including promised investment. So we cannot delve much into that case because it's in the High Court. But this morning, we are expected to have the same case before court. And the court is about to give a ruling because yesterday when the matter, there's one witness that the state has sent and produced so that he can testify in regard to the case and how the transactions were done. Yeah. But the defense had objected to that witness to give his testimony on account that him and Mr. Lungu were clients, had a client relationship, which would jeopardize their relationship. So they had refused for that witness to give his testimony. But we are yet to see the court ruling on whether they will and see or whether they can proceed to give this testimony forward. And one other thing I should mention is that earlier on the state yesterday has requested the court to discontinue the matter, citing discrepancy by the state prosecution. It was almost 1 hour before the case would commence, and they didn't communicate earlier with the court because there's no reason why he is coming to court so that they can proceed with the matter. But anyway, that was overruled by the court, and they had given the case second time so that they can proceed with the matter. So, yeah. This morning, we are yet to see whether the court gives a ruling to see if the witness can proceed this testimony before court.
Okay, Miriam.
Just to hint on some of the reason why this witness may be important to give this testimony before court. Yesterday, when the first witness was caught by the prosecution, an accountant from State Alliance Bank, did allude to the fact that KCM has an account with SNB Bank, and then they said 4.4 million was transferred from SNB to Alliance Bank, and in the account of Mooney and Company. So this Mooney and Company, they said the alleged owners behind the said account is the same witness that they think is receiving that he should specify before court.
Keep calling.
So yeah, we'll give you more updates as we hear what outcome we have from court.
Interesting there. Okay,
Miriam, one thing that came out the other day, you did this story, because this is a story that you've been tracking for like 3-4 days continuously, is that the lawyer representing KCM and Milingolungu is one, and then what was the verdict on this?
Okay, yes, that's the date that come out, because the state was afraid that you will agree with me that Mr. Luke is accused of stealing from KCM, and this somehow might have a conflict of interest. Yes. So, but though the court did overrule the application by the state to deny, to remove the KB Zulu advocate from representing Mr. Lungu. Yes, so that application was overruled by the state. The state ruled that Mr. Lungu, the KB Zulu advocate, can continue representing the Lungu state. Lawyers, if you have, they have like a ceremony where they are not supposed to disclose certain information, a client that they represent. So the court thinks that because they are professionals, they can't do that.
Okay.
That's
all right, Miriam, thank you so much. What other stories, briefly, are we tracking from the court grounds?
Okay, so basically we have for Mr. Lungu, and then we're supposed to have Innocent Sadimashi yesterday. So we'll be able to see if he will be coming out today as well, because yesterday the state was not around to proceed with his case.
Okay. All right, Miriam, thank you so much. We will probably call you as we go on with the show to give us an update with regards to whether Kalimanshi, the self-proclaimed, as we call him, PF National Commander, will appear before court this morning. Thank you so much for giving us that update.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Stay.
So, Patrick, I know we are not legal experts, but one thing that really caught my attention the other day, Miriam broke the story about Milingolungu and KCM, was that they have one lawyer representing them. You know, one legal firm, that is Makebi Zulu and Advocates. But then the state was asking Makebi Zulu to recuse himself, or to recuse themselves as an institution from handling one of the cases. For me, in a layman's language, I think you cannot offer fair judgment. Anyway, we're not going to do much into that. But
that could just talking about just that's within that.
There's conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest would come. Exactly. But honestly, you know how the other client is pursuing the case on this other one, and this other one. What about if you try to favor the other one by trying to divulge part of the information? At the end of the day, much as there's professionalism, we have seen that people have deferred the offer on several occasions. Exactly. So we offer that firm manages that arrangement professionally, but we can only wait from the outcomes of the court processes there. And we'll go straight into another interesting story, Shalon, where we saw traders at Munyaole Market you know Mnyole Market. Have you been there before?
I do. Isn't it that makeshift market next to City Market? Yes, I've bought a lot of things there. It's a good market for us.
It's a good market, but there's been also issues of the arrangement, the hygiene part, and being the CBD. All those issues came into play. But let's get to listen what these traders are asking for from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development.
The news of alleged sale and demolition of the Mnyole market of Lusaka has not settled well with these affected marketeers operating at the said market. Tuesday, traders have taken it to the streets, demanding answers from the government to give guidance on the issue. They have alleged that plans are underway to move them from Mnyole Market to Simon Moore Market, which they claim is already fully booked by other prospect traders.
Second, wakamba kuti tichoka pano pa Munyaule mashop yali 400 shops. Pa Munyaule pali mashop almost 2,000 something. 4,000. But Boma council ametusunga kuja kamba kuti zachoka 400. Manja babenangu bazaenda kuti.
They were at Lusaka Civic Center where they sought an audience with Lusaka Town Clerk Mr. Alex Mwansa, proved an exercise in futility as they advanced to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Offices to seek Honorable Garin Kombo's audience. After a lengthy closed-door meeting with the Minister, when asked what transpired in the meeting, the marketeers' representatives assured that all is well as the Minister establishes facts around this controversial transaction.
The government has a very good plan for the people because that was our move. We wanted to hear the truth. So that plan, the grant that they want to give even those people that are on the market that have been trading without offer letters, it is a very good strategy. Let's just organize ourselves. This issue of getting this story, it won't help us. Let's unite. The only thing that has made us not to reach where we've reached is because we lacked cooperation. Thank you.
What's your name?
My name is Clinton Boy.
So is the demolition story invalid or valid?
It is invalid. It is invalid as at now. The local government has further clarification according to the local government.
However, some traders have expressed disappointment in the results of the meeting as they wanted to be addressed by the minister himself to give a proper guidance.
If I wanted the minister to come and address us, to tell us exactly where this issue of demolish came from, why they want to demolish the market.
Meanwhile, both the town clerk and Minister of Local Government and Rural Development had not directly addressed the traders, to the point the traders were escorted back to the market by the men in uniform. Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
There you have it. Traders at Mnyole Market in Lusaka were asking the local authority there to inform them what is the way forward regarding the market. They have information that it is up for sale, the place is up for sale, and they are asking, where are we going to trade from? This challenge has been with us for a while now, the issue of informal market or trading places. We've seen government construct markets in the CBD, but it shows that they are not adequate. They cannot accommodate everyone. Street vending is equally on the rise, and in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, that is cause for concern. It's
detriment to the fight.
Exactly. So these are issues that are coming out. You can add your voice in case you want to suggest what should be the way forward. And we are also talking matters to do with World AIDS Day, so that you can also contribute regarding these topics. But Sharon, what did you think the government should do in this case at Mnyole Market?
I can only say they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do because this market, Patrick, you and I are aware that It's been there for quite some time. It was an improvised market because City Market got full to capacity.
Yes.
And then they decided to put some of the people to trade from that area. And over the years, it has grown and become a household name for many people and a source of livelihoods for people that don't want to trade in the streets. But then when you hear that your source of livelihood is up for sale, you know, to people that may not even have your interest at heart. We have seen a number of situations where a market, for example, Kamwala market, that is Lubama market, it was just full of makeshifts at some point. I remember when we were in primary school, got there and buy one or two things. But then when it was built to a modern facility, very few people could afford to rent those buildings, you know. I think that is the major source of concern. Not really that people don't want these areas to be modernized, to be put up to standard with the current situation, you know. It's because people who are really trading from those specific areas may not be considered in the long run once they build modern infrastructure. At the same time, people want to be consulted so they add their voices. But then their concern also is that they want to be taken to Simon Moalen market, the market that is still under construction and was the construction of this market, Patrick, you are aware, started when City Market was gutted. That was 2 years ago. Up to now, it's still under construction. But then how many people can be accommodated in that market is born of contention here. Because just people from Unyaule market, Patrick, I don't think they can be accommodated.
First of all, Sharon, there are those who were displaced following
City Market. Exactly. And then the Munyaule guys.
Then there are also those vendors who trade along Lumumba Road through and through.
Throughout.
So now, how are you going
That's why I say it all together. They have a lot of work to do.
So you know,
a lot.
The sad thing about governance is that when you inherit, you even inherit the problems.
Exactly. You inherit everything.
So, and these markets were, I'm told, it was up for demolition, not under the new Don administration, but the previous administration that started working around that process. And you see, the new Don administration has to rise to the occasion. We were doing a similar story. It should be in Ubuse, at Ubuseko market, the land for Zeko, which is up for sale as well.
Why now?
Now, so you see, traders, you know, the thing, Sharon, is that our people want to survive. That's where we see these informal arrangements in terms of trading places. And those informal arrangements, they are quite cheap if you compare to those who trade in markets, because probably they pay some taxes and everything. But those who trade in the informal arrangement, they equally have business because, see, their prices are somehow quite reasonable in the wake of the high cost of living, which is trading about over 8,000 according to the BNB by JCTR. So if you see, it tells you that we have a lot to do if you are to formalize our systems. But for me, I see an opportunity for enhanced tax correction on the part of the ZRA and the local authority, because if we are talking about 4,000 traders, Shara, and they are contributing 1 kwacha on a daily basis. That's quite a lot of money.
I think they had started that. That's best tax.
The best tax, but it couldn't work under the arrangement. And we engaged Zanamaka on those elements. They said the aspect of logistics also hindered their ability to reach out to many marketeers and stuff. But those are issues, Sharon, that we as a country need to be discussing, because if the informal arrangement, if these traders are able to contribute to the tax base, we'll be able as a country to build proper markets for them, so that they can be able to trade in a conducive arrangement. You can imagine during the rainy season how hard it is, especially to trade in such an arrangement. So there are a lot of issues surrounding that.
The informal sector. We've got a number of, I think, over 60% of Zambia's population being in the informal sector. And there's just a lot that we need to do to formalize the sector. And one of the things that was up for formalizing the sector was the issue of the same base tax and whatever. And that Zanamaka, Zambia National Marketeers Association, was working in collaboration with various institutions to ensure that they formalize the informal sector. Because according to them, this sector is huge and can contribute rather greatly to the national coffers. Patrick.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we'll also take about, we'll take another story, different from what was happening from the informal arrangement. Now it was at Parliament.
Okay.
Interesting stuff coming that side, where we saw some members of Parliament boycotting. Let's hear that report.
We are still zooming in the headlines. You too can call us and send your messages as well on our Facebook page. Just give us your contribution with the stories that we've run so far. Later on, we will be joined by the Resident Doctors Association, and we'll be talking about a lot of things about health, considering the fact that today is World Health Day, World AIDS Day. I don't know why I keep saying Health Day. What, is there a World Health Day?
Oof. Should be.
There are a number of actually health
UPND days, yeah. So
I don't know. I think I should start the campaign. If at all there's no World Health Day, I'm going to start the campaign because it's really stuck on me. So today is World Health World AIDS Day. World AIDS Day.
Are you on an agenda to convert this day?
No, I am on an agenda.
Well, but we won't allow you to do
So yeah, today is World AIDS Day, and we are also going to be talking about the COVID-19 vaccinations, just clearing the air with regards to what people are calling mandatory testing, and was clarified by government, which Patrick is saying not so clarified. You can also try and clarify according to your own understanding. Just now, we go straight into our next story as we are still zooming in the headlines.
I want to put it on record what we are proceeding with a protest to ensure that we are not part of this illegality.
It was a heated moment in Parliament on Tuesday after Opposition Patriotic Front PF members walked out in protest and refused to debate 2022 budget estimates for State House presented by Republican Vice President Mutalina Lumango. This was on allegations that the presentations were based on an act that was repealed from the Constitution.
In summary, it should be noted further that State House estimates operation budget for 2022 is 78,955,693 kwacha against last year's budget of 77,288,358 kwacha. Chairperson, the budget estimates before this August House will enable State House to upgrade and facilitate efficient operations of its departments, attend to personnel emoluments, dismantling of arrears, provide maintenance of State House grounds and infrastructure, transport, management and general operations.
Mporokoso Member of Parliament Brian Mundubile, in raising a point of order on the matter, stated that PF members of Parliament were not willing to debate the matter on the basis that it was unconstitutional.
This has presented us with a very serious trepidation because the whole of Part 4 of the Constitution, Act number 18 of 1996, including Articles 33 and 34, were repealed and replaced with Part 7 of the Constitution Amendment Act number 2 of 2016. To the extent, therefore, that the current estimate on expenditure draws a mandate from a non-existent constitutional provision, your members on the left find themselves constrained to debate this head, because any debate or resolution passed on this will be ill-fated and unconstitutional.
These saw members from the Opposition Patriotic Front walking out in protest, and the House was adjourned for 20 minutes. Meanwhile, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu says strict measures have been put up after reports of attacks on buses by bus drivers and conductors in Lusaka.
1. Heightened foot and motorized patrols, particularly in high-prone areas. 2. Enhanced intelligence information gathering. 3. Undertaking various sensitization programs. And 4. Engaging stakeholders on crime prevention measures. Madam Speaker, government has noted with concern that unscrupulous people are using military uniform to waylay innocent citizens. This must come to an end.
However, he says crime levels have reduced in the country in the third quarter of 2021 in comparison to the same period in 2020 and has called for calm among citizens. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Interesting news item there from the Parliament, flow of Parliament. Patrick Soko, Parliament is always full of activity, full of drama, and since they opened this session, there hasn't been much of drama apart from the Boma Nusambos of that world having being chased at some point from Parliament, and new things, having female speakers, and you know, this drama of walking out of Parliament was very, very prominent when the United Party for National Development was in opposition. Now that the PF is in opposition, they've also started the trend of walking out of Parliament when they don't agree. It's within their right. It's within their right, yes.
But when during their tenure, they also
they condemned the act.
They called the UPND crybabies.
So have they turned into crybabies?
Well,
so soon.
Well, we need to see about that.
Yeah, they've turned into crybabies so soon. So yeah, they didn't agree with what the Vice President was saying, and their leader Brian Munduwile, who is also a member of Parliament, just ordered the whole crew to say, let's walk out.
But I think it works to their favor because we saw the House again coming back, and I want to see to rectify issues and agree on that those arrangements. So I think it was just a measure to compel the executive to ensure that they
do the right thing. They speak to them as adults they are, because one of the things that the Vice President said was like, can you stop behaving like you just came into Parliament? Some of you have been here for 2 terms, you know. So yeah, I think that is one of the things that they felt.
We also saw the Speaker making a lot of order requests in the House
with her voice
until she had to leave. Then
with her voice, I insist, with her voice. But anyways, it is within their rights, and we will continue to report on what is happening in Parliament, just to bring you up to speed with various issues being debated upon with regards to the nation.
Well, we'll take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
This is Camnet TV World News. For a prompt response, call +2609 53 995 099 or +2609 62 444 726 or +2609 711 77467. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello, I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Well, before we went on a break there, we had some stories we were zooming in, interesting ones as well to say. Yeah. Where we talked about our parliamentarians while they are working on our laws, their drama in the House.
Exactly.
And I've been joined on the seat by Blessings Chakwila, but we'll be going to you later on. But we'll go straight into the money market arrangement. What is the Camnet currency today? How is it trading and buying?
Okay, so we haven't yet gotten the current money markets as of today, but we'll give you what we had yesterday as of the close of business on Tuesday. One United States dollars was buying at 17 kwacha 61 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 96 ngwe. One British pound was buying at 23 kwacha 46 ngwe and selling at 23 kwacha 92 ngwe. The euro was buying at 19 kwacha 92 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 31 ngwe, while the South African rand was buying at 1 kwacha 8 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe. So those are the money markets as of the close of business Tuesday. We will give you an updated version of the money markets today, obviously by the close of the show.
Wow, interesting there. We see our kwacha, but there's something fishy about our kwacha again. Is it going back or it will stabilize at that? Well, we'll see about that.
It had appreciated for 2 days or something, and most of us were really excited about it, thinking that when somebody, you have like $1, you buy something better, but then it has started depreciating as we're reaching my 18, 17 kwacha. It's not good for business.
We'll go straight into sports update with Blessings Chakwila. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Interesting. We want to find out how is the MTN Super League standings. How are they standing? Who is topping the league? And who is the least? Thank you, Patrick.
Like I said yesterday, there are so many tournaments that are ongoing. Amongst them is the MTN Super League, of which Green Buffaloes are at the top of the list with 28 points. And then we have Nkwazi also, who had 22 points. We have Green Eagles and Kawe Warriors, who have the same points. That's 20 points, sorry. That's 20 points, and of which the only thing that is differentiating the two teams is a 2-goal difference. The list, we have Chambeshi, that is at 9 points. We have also Konkola Blades, that is at 11 points.
Okay, interesting. What is happening around the COSAFA issue amidst the COVID-19 pandemic? We saw our women going there, our girls, the under 17 ones.
And there are some teams have withdrawn from this tournament.
What is going there?
Interesting question, Sharon, because there are some countries that have totally withdrawn because of the new Omicron variant that is present right now. Some countries have withdrawn. We've seen countries like Zimbabwe having withdrawn from this competition, but for our girls, they did travel. They traveled yesterday, of which the national team, that is the national team coach, Mr. Kangwa, named his 18 squad. That was yesterday. They traveled. So I don't know how safe it is wherever they've gone to, and we only pray for the best for our girls.
Firstly, they will be quarantined. The respective countries have got measures that have put in place with regards to preventing the spread of the COVID-19, like ours as well.
Before we let you go, what else do we have on your desk?
The other thing, apart from, there was a question, last time Sharon asked a question to say, the referring train that is ongoing.
How many women?
How many women? We've been waiting for that response from FAS, and apparently they have responded. Okay. And this time around, they are going together with, the 16 days of gender activism, where they've decided to incorporate also 30 female referees that will be participating in the ongoing training.
That's good news.
Okay, thank you for that update.
We want to see if at all they will manage to complete the whole
training and just participate and be active, you see. But at the end of the day, it's about commitment.
There was that female referee. What tournament was that where there was this female referee who was well shaped, you know, and
I can't recall, but there are many of those.
Created a lot of social media buzz. You know, she was all over people's.
But don't you think the female referees are destructive to men?
No, I don't think so.
Well, we'll take a break. We'll be back on the other side.
Is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
I'm Deborah Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned. We celebrate.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Camnet Breakfast. Just now we are joined by another guest, Mr. Richard Silumbe, Leadership Movement Party President. Am I right?
Correct.
Welcome to our studios, Mr. Silumbe.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here.
I like your voice. It's audible enough.
All right.
I'll give you news to cast next time.
All right.
Interesting. Well, the leadership movement, we just participated in the just ended August general election. So, and you are among opposition political parties we have in the country. And here at Camnet TV, this week we've been reviewing the 100 days of the United Party for National Development Administration, UPND, regarding how has been their 100 days based on their commitments, and also look at you as a political party, what you have been doing. So we'll go straight into, first of all, how have you done an assessment, having participated in the just ended August 12 general election, and what's the way forward for the leadership movement?
Well, first of all, after participating in this election, we had a lot of challenges, such as lack of ability to campaign due to the clamping down of campaigns that was done by the PF government. But that aside, we also know that there is an aspect of endurance to the issue of campaigns, because we understand that people take time to get specific or certain vital fundamentals of a party. A party like Leadership Movement is a little bit different from these parties, many of the parties that we see. We have specific fundamentals as a movement, and I always give examples of a teaching environment where you have pupils, for instance. We have different teachers. We have teachers teaching, for instance, sciences, teachers who are teaching drama, other teachers are teaching social sciences. So when you have pupils and you allow them to elect their favorite teacher, so you find that people are teaching courses that are very important for development, such as sciences, for instance, but they are a little bit difficult to grasp by the pupils. So when you find another teacher, like a teacher teaching drama, many pupils will gravitate to such a teacher because that is entertainment, that is easy to grasp, and so on and so forth. So this is the situation we are found in as Leadership Movement.
So in other words, it's easy
yes,
for these political parties who are
create drama, a lot of drama, and everyone follows it because it's entertainment. Unlike a situation where you have a political party that focuses on developmental issues such as land to the Zambian people, jobs to Zambian youths. And when we talk about jobs, we're not talking about 30,000 jobs. We are talking about millions of jobs to young people. We talk about tax breaks and tax holidays to Zambian businesses, support your local team, local is laka. Those fundamentals that, unfortunately, these are the things that will rise, that will bring Zambia towards the development that we need. So in the school setup, you find that people may stay away from sciences, they will go for drama, but eventually, secretly, they will come and rewrite those courses because that is what will make the life for them. So this is where we are as Leadership Movement. So we have to persevere to preach this gospel of land to the Zambian people, jobs and tax breaks and tax holidays, because we know that the future Zambia will need these fundamentals, and that is where our focus is. We want the future generation to look back and say there were leaders who spoke about things that matter and not just dramatists.
Mr. Sulembe, you've spoken very well about what you stand for as a party, but do you think you did enough with regards to convincing people this is the right agenda? You gave an example of social sciences. I'm calling them social sciences, the histories of that world, and mathematics. You are considering yourself as a mathematics teacher. What are the ways in which you are using to convince those students
to make
that
mathematics attractive?
Is an interesting subject.
That is where we are going. Of course, it needs time. When we are looking at mathematical principles or science principles, they need more and more repetition. So the repetition is what we are focusing on. We are going to repeat these things as much as possible until they become familiar to the Zambian minds, and also make them so public enough for people to get the sense. We had a situation where we were not allowed to campaign, and especially for Leadership Movement. For some reason, the previous government was so...
you were a threat?
Yes, we were considered a threat because we came with that energy, and from the onset we were put on the red line. We were not allowed to meet. Wherever we were supposed to be meeting, there was violence. The PF cadres were sent there, ferried from so many areas, and so on and so forth. So that hindered our progress. And in the run-up to elections, you saw what happened. We were not allowed to even hold any meeting. So for a new political party, that is very difficult to acclimatize. But for these other political parties that are already there, for instance, and also the fact that we were looked at as a threat, and we were specifically targeted not to reach out to the Zambian people.
But is your political party among those parties which feel in order to take development or to empower citizens, you need to form government, or you are being proactive?
Well, we are very proactive at issues. We market these issues because we know that probably it may not be wise to let things that are supposed to take the nation forward be held within our hearts. This is why we are always talking about land to the Zambian people. Imagine after 10 years from now, we find that foreigners have owned our land. What will happen to the future Zambians? The future generations will look back and say, they are lived fools that did not know what they possess. They did not know the value of their assets, the value of their natural resources. This is the reason why we are preaching about land to the Zambian people. We want Zambians to own land with title deeds, because by so doing, we are preserving the Zambian assets. And when a Zambian owns land with title deeds, it means that there are more Zambian than foreigners. Now we are in a situation where foreigners are actually more Zambian than us. I was, a month ago, I was in Chilabombo. I visited Chilabombo, and I found this family that is very poor. They cannot afford to send their children to school because they do not have anything, and yet they point at where ShopRite has been built at. That used to be our land. Our fathers and our mothers, we used to farm there, we used to grow groundnuts there, but we no longer possess that. So this is the scenario that is happening. Whilst we are entertained and we are forgetting these fundamentals, Zambian land is slowly being taken away by foreigners. So these are the things that we are talking about, and many more of these things. We don't just hold on to us until we form government, but we are saying that whichever government that is in office, they need to act on these issues.
And that brings me now to, you talked about being oppressed while in opposition under the Patriotic Front administration. Now we have the UPND in government. So far, we are talking about their 100 days in office. So far, what is standing out for you?
Well, first of all, the New Dawn government came with a very good rhythm. They do not have that appetite to cramp down on political parties, which is a very good thing, and we welcome that. It's a very good gesture for development and for democracy, and that is the reason why we feel that this is a very good environment to exchange ideas, to talk about things, and not to criticize where we see problems or a direction that is not appeasing, but also to give them the leeway to do things that are good for the Zambian people. So we feel that they have a very good posture, and so many things are giving us a very good direction. But we have also other issues that we are talking about. For instance, we were just discussing their budget, which funded more than 50% by external funding, which is an issue to us. We are talking about employment, employing 30,000 teachers, 11,000 health workers, which is not in line with what we feel that they can do, because we expect them to give out massive jobs. In any economic recovery, we can talk about the Great Depression of 1933, when Delano Roosevelt undertook the Marshall way of recovering the U.S. economy. There was mass recruitment of young people there. If we talk about the times of economic disaster in Germany, for Germany to recover in the 1930s, it also underwent massive recruitment. When we talk about the disaster of the Japanese vanquish, also for them to resuscitate, they had to engage the young people. We cannot have a government, an economic recovery with just a few people trying to...
We'll take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
right, we're still in conversation with Mr. Silumbe here, who is one of the opposition political parties that took part. Is Dr. Silumbe?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, who took part in the previous election. He has experience, he's appeared on the ballot, and he's hopeful that he can offer proper checks and balances to the ruling party while in opposition. You two out there can have your say, join in the conversation, send us your messages and call us, ask him the questions that you want to ask. In case you're not aware, just to refresh your mind, Dr. Silumbe is a leader of a political party that wears regalia that resembles that of the police. Is it the police?
According to the ACZ,
according to the Electoral Commission.
It was a controversial issue. It was like a marketing
yes, they were almost not allowed to file in because of your members. Yeah, that's
that has been sorted.
Out.
Has it been sorted, Mr.
Yes, actually, that was just a PF ploy to make sure that we don't get on the ballot and to create controversy around us. First of all, what happened was with that regalia, it was meant for orderliness. That does not represent violence. It represents orderliness, because the nature of leadership movement is orderliness. We do not want to have cadres who are all over, drunk, doing all kinds of things. We wanted to represent order and work. So it's like men at work. That wasn't a military guard as many people put it. That was a black uniform. No military wing wears such kind of a uniform. That uniform is meant for people who are working, some workers, and people who are some security officers, and so on and so forth. So that was just a controversy which was meant to dissuade people from the message that we are preaching and focus on other things.
Yeah. Okay, away from that, is it Dr. Silumbe? You place land on top of your agenda as a political party. We've seen the new Minister of Lands, Mr. Elijah Mchima, putting a halt to the issuance of title deeds, among other things, and working in collaboration with the Ministry of Technology, trying to sanitize the whole Ministry of Lands. According to him, he said there's a lot of land title changing. You find today it's in Sharon's name, the other day it's in Patrick's name. Is this the step in the right direction with regards to normalizing issues to do with land?
Well, anything that focuses on ensuring that there is sanity there in the means of lands and there is transparency, we accept it and we welcome it, because we want at the end of the day to ensure that land is secured for the Zambian people. We don't support the fact that foreigners should be owning land with title deeds. We want to be hearing only names of Zambian people, Mtale, Piri, and so on and so forth, at the Ministry of Lands. We don't want Jingsu, Jingzwang, and so on and so forth, because these people, these foreigners, are getting a piece of Zambia. Yes, wherever I've been, I've never seen a foreigner owning title deeds to the land that is in those countries. If you are in the UK, you can buy a property, but you can never own land. In South Korea, in Russia, so everything is just like that. But why should we be so open to give out land freely to foreign investors, the so-called investors who in the end do not even plow back to the country, but they take away all the natural resources.
Wow, on land, we have seen Chinese selling land to Zambian. What do you make of such an arrangement?
That is criminality on the part of leadership. This is what happens when we elect hyenas as leaders. We expect such kind of things to happen, like what was happening in the PF government, where Chinese, they own vast land and they start cutting it in pieces, they start selling to Zambians, which was not appropriate, and we don't expect that such a thing to happen in the New Dawn government, because that is failure of government at its highest.
We haven't getting the perspective of the leadership movement regarding the pending fuel increase, as well as the adjustment in electricity tariffs. Government is advancing the notion that they need cost reflective tariffs in order to ensure that ZESCO operates at a profit, as well as encourage private sector participation in the case of electricity. What is your take on that arrangement?
Well, so I was just talking about economic recovery, and whichever economic recovery that we have heard of, it starts with including the energy of the young people, every person getting involved. So I was saying that all these countries that have recovered from their economic crisis, like Japan, the USA, and Germany, and so on and so forth, these countries have recovered by way of engaging everybody. So what we are saying
there, we just pick up that one. You are through to Camnet TV. Hello, you are through to Camnet.
Thank you. This is the
Eastern Province. Well, we have Dr. Silumbe in the studios. You can go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, the support of useful minds, always bringing useful ideas on the table. So, let's be assured that we are always behind it. Even when I'm looking in numbers and UPND, because we realize that from the position that we have, even when we very few that is what we do, with what was happening, we're not going to move this brutal regime which was there. And that's the reason why we opted for UPND, because it was when you got the number, the number which graduated. However, I wanted to take this back just to what happened in the
Yes.
And concerning about the and the in the manner in which the protected in balance. Very much agree with them because it was something that was all our position. It was something that was with our position. We really appreciated them for being it in the however, I don't know what is now for the do the same because it is the same and the same allocation that we that we are doing. We was after they are out. And which was presented by them. How come no really is the identity by the advocate in the name of the teaching? What is the matter with established by the adoption plan? The budget who was the meaning to bring them that they are because of the development we have there. But when they look over the budget, also have already structured for the transition.
You can wind up. No, thank We got his point there. We lost him. And Sharon, most of it is just a compliment to Dr. Silumbe, so we won't allow him to respond to that. And the other one was talking about the aspect of what happened in Parliament yesterday. You were responding to the issue of electricity and fuel before we interrupted you there. You can proceed.
Pick it up from them.
All right, yes. So what we are saying is that we don't expect as leadership movement a few individuals, like in the case of the New Dawn government, to actually give us an economic recovery by themselves, because if this economy is to recover, we need to engage each and every Zambian. You cannot have 90% of Zambian people, they are handicapped, unemployed, and unproductive, and expect to recover the economy. So these are the concerns that we have with the New Dawn government. Aside from that, we have put up another pain in the flesh of the Zambian people, such as increment of electricity tariffs, increasing fuel prices. So those things, what they do is they will trickle down to the general Zambian in terms of the gravity of it. We are going to see the price of tomatoes go up, the price of fitumbuas, they will go up. All the prices will go up in the nutshell, because these issues of energy, fuel, and electricity, they factor in all production. And whenever we are increasing the price of fuel, the price of electricity, it means that we are increasing the cost of production, even at the local level. So this is the kind of spillover effect that we are going to have. And we do not support such kind of moves as leadership movement, because we know the consequences of it in the economic situation that we have. They would have rather continued subsidizing those areas as they work out the economic recovery plan that should engage each and every Zambian. And when we're talking about an economic recovery plan, we're not talking about employing 30,000 teachers or 11,000 nurses, because those areas of employment, and as the budget has showed, it's mostly consumption. We want to focus on production. All recovery focuses on production, because when you produce, you have products that you are able to sell either outside. For instance, leadership movement talks about creating state farms where we can produce enough maize, sell to Congo, and get forex from Congo. It means that we are now gaining from the economic situation that we have by way of producing something where we can get genuine money into the country. We do not subscribe to borrowing money, because we know that from time indefinite, nothing has happened as a result of getting money from IMF or World Bank, because these people, they keep ripping the country off. From the Kenneth Kaunda period, Kenneth Kaunda came to grief after engaging World Bank and IMF. We had Chiluba. Chiluba, by the end of year 2000, he came to grief. He complained bitterly as how he was misled, selling all the companies that produce and getting the loans which he could not even pay back in the end. When Levi Mwanawasa came into power, he was told to work out the economic crisis. He implemented austerity measures, and upon reaching his peak and all the debt was forgiven, what happened? The next month he was given 1.5 million as debt to support him. So in short, this debt thing is not meant for us to develop. It's meant to keep us small, to colonize our minds so that we don't work out ways of growing our economy. So all these countries that are dependent on debt, they are meant to be abused, to get natural resources for free, and also manipulate them. So we see that that is just colonization.
Talking about debt, we saw Uganda losing one of its, the only airport to the Chinese government due to debt. So if we continue in that trajectory, don't we risk falling into such a trap as a country?
We expect the New Dawn government to be vicious at negotiating postponement of the payment of this debt, so that they can focus on growing the economy. We are a political party that supports deferring debt, because we know that that debt that has been given to us, it's not that they want that money to be used. It was meant to colonize us. Any businessman who deals in business, they know certain money they give when they are sponsoring these political parties, all these businessmen, it's not that they want that money back. they want to control the political parties. They want to control those areas where they are putting that money. Same applies to foreigners. When they give us all this money, it's because they want to control the prices of copper, how they can get opportunities to those natural resources, and so on and so forth. So we need not think that they need that money urgently. We need to focus on negotiating with them, be vicious at telling them that we are bankrupt at this time. We need to focus all our resources into growing the economy. Then at a later time we'll be able to pay back. If we continue paying them, it means that we are going to go down the drain of economic destruction as a country.
But Dr. Silombe, Zambia is a country that's still economically unstable, and this date is what supplements our budget. Like you mentioned, a lot of money, a lot of the expense for the 2022 national budget is based on money that we're supposed to borrow. We are expecting. What is the way forward? Are we able to finance our own budget using domestic resources?
This is what I've been talking about all the time as leadership movement. We have been talking about this. We have areas where we can raise this money. I can give you an example. The budget was about a little bit about 10 billion US dollars. And when we factor in what the previous commissioner of ZRA collected in a month, he collected about 8 billion kwacha in a month. So we need, as a new government, we need to be vicious at collecting debt. The 10 billion US dollars that we have as a national budget, it's very small compared to what KCM is making. Those people, those companies, foreign companies, they're always pretending. We have been in business before. We know how these people pretend that they're not making profit, and yet they're making huge sums of money and they don't want to be paying tax. So it's unfortunate that we have even given them more leeway not to be paying tax. We need to be vicious at collecting tax from these companies. ShopRite, look at what ShopRite does. It comes to a combine, it kills all the tuntembers because people there, they're excited to buy from ShopRite. So they will go spend their 1 kwacha in ShopRite, buy bread in ShopRite, leaving tuntembers without business, and eventually they close down. They only go to tuntembers when they are broke. They will go and borrow something. The moment they get the money, they go to ShopRite. Those companies, they are busy changing those kwachas into dollars and sending back to where they came from. We need to ensure that we tax those companies viciously. Collect at least 15 billion. If we are collecting 15 billion kwacha per month, we will be able to finance our budget. The next area where we can collect a lot of money is from ZICTA. Every call that we make, for instance, if 30% goes to ZICTA, if 1 million people, they have more than 12 million subscribers, if 1 million people make a call of 1 kwacha, just 1 million people, less than 1 minute, they make 1 million in less than 1 minute. But there are millions of calls happening, and 30% always goes to ZICTA. And the government doesn't even know where that money goes. I know people from ZICTA, they are all over the world, moving in conferences and so on and so forth. We need to get that money towards the budget. We have National Road Fund agents. We are collecting from the toll gates. Where is the money going? We are always getting from the papers, especially in the previous government, that 400 million collected in 1 month has been lost. They don't know where the money is. They've misplaced it. So all that money collected, we are able to finance our budget. All we need is a corruption-free government. The other area where we can adjust a little bit to reduce even on expenditures is on the payroll of these directors. The managing director for ZESCO, how much does he get? He gets more than 300,000 kwacha per month. ZRI, more than 300. All these second level directors, managers, they get hundreds of thousands of kwacha per month, which should be reduced to at least 50,000, which is a normal pay for any CEOs in private companies. They don't get such kind of money, but only these people are they just want to be abusing resources. So we can adjust a little bit there and focus on getting that money towards production. We need to finance production. We need to get 1 million young people, the so-called cadres who have been removed from the streets. We need ZNS to come in, get 1 million, 1 year, 6 months of training during which they are productive. We produce enough maize. We go into construction. We kick out the Chinese. We do our own roads. We do our own construction, and so on and so forth. We are conserving a lot of money that we have been wasting. By so doing, after 1 year, 6 months, these people, they'll be paid. We are not talking about giving them salaries of 5,000 or 6,000. We are talking about giving them a 2,000 kwacha per month as a salary after 1 year, 6 months, after producing, and they continue to produce for the country to recover the economy. A 2,000 kwacha paid to 1 million people is 2 billion kwacha per month. We have calculated that as leadership movement. That's why when we were talking about massive jobs, we knew what we were talking about. We could employ 4 million young people and spend just a few billions monthly when we are reaping a lot from the economy, because we'll be exporting maize to Congo. We want to feed Congo. We feed Angola. We feed all these countries. We produce tangible resources out of our copper, which we are just selling to China. Instead of selling copper rods, we need to be selling tangible products. We go there, we look at the cables that they want to make out of our copper. We make them from here, and we start shipping all those products from this country. So these are the areas that we can adjust in to ensure that we are productive. And when we talk about production, many Zambians, unfortunately, they don't believe it. They think that we cannot produce. But when I take you back to history, before 1890, before colonialism, we used to make ores out of copper or iron ore. Our forefathers used to get just stones, they smelt them, they make spears, they make ores, and they used to be productive. At Kaflafuta, we used to make copper plates out of copper ore. They could just pick up copper, they smelt them, they make plates, they make copper bangles, and so on and so forth. After 1890, when the BSA came into action with colonialism and the British government, they banned those things. They said any blacksmith should not exist in Zambia. Any metal you are using should be written made in Britain. So from there, when we got independence in 1964, we didn't correct our mistakes. We didn't go back to the roots. So this is what leadership movement wants to do. We want to take ourselves back to production, where we can produce anything that we want, because we were doing that. This colonial mindset that we have, that thinks that only foreigners should own the mines, only foreigners should do this, it's just colonial. We have just been accustomed to thinking like this. Otherwise, we are able to do something bigger than what we have accepted to be.
All right, we are in conversation with Leadership Movement President Dr. Richard Silumbe. You too can have a conversation with him from the comfort of your home.
Interesting. And talking about the 100 days of the UPND in government, we've also seen them make pronouncements on COVID-19. And talking about the COVID-19, they brought out new guidelines. And as an opposition leader, I want to get your views regarding this aspect, where one of the issues is that in order for the leadership movement president to go and engage the minister regarding something of his concern, he needs to have a vaccination certificate.
If you don't have it, you won't be allowed to engage.
Again, this is what I'm talking about. We need to get rid of this colonial mindset, colonial mentality, where we feel that we should depend on what white people tell us. We have seen that we don't have corona disease here in Zambia. Many people are okay. If at all, even at the peak of coronavirus in Zambia, we knew that more people were dying of malaria than coronavirus. When 50 people die in a day, how, if we are to calculate the number of people who have died of malaria, we'll find that there are more than 500 in a day. So this idea that because it's a colonial disease, we should be dancing for it, it's neither there nor there. And we expect our leaders to stand their ground and be able to look at things with a clear mindset, with a clear vision, and ensure that they focus on what is in Zambia. We don't need those restrictions. We don't need to succumb to corona, which is not there. We need to focus on production and recovering the economy. Any further restrictions would drain the economy so badly, like what happened with the PF government, because the PF government didn't have leadership. They were just moving like robots, and they were doing things as if there is no any discernment in whatever decisions they were making, and we ended up destroying our economy. I don't expect the New Dawn government to walk the same path. If they do that, we'll be seeing the results of destruction everywhere. We need to focus on tangible investment in production, making the economic recovery, and not focusing on these corona issues, which are neither there nor there. Let them handle their problems in Britain or in the UK, in Europe, in America. Let us focus on our problems. Our problem is malaria. Our problem are things to do with the economic recovery, where people cannot afford to buy meal, and so on and so forth. That is the coronavirus that we should be worried about, not these restrictions that are not even supposed to be there. We expect better discernment from this leadership, other than what we are hearing from Silva Marcel.
What makes you so sure, Dr. Silome, that Zambia does not have COVID-19?
I do not.
We had a lot of.
Let me correct you. I do not say that the COVID-19 virus does not exist. It exists, but it's not a problem that we should focus on. We have other diseases like malaria, which is claiming a lot of lives, unfortunately, more than COVID-19. We have HIV/AIDS and all those diseases that are at the peak, and we shouldn't look at a disease that is just lower there. You are talking about 60 deaths. At our peak, we were only recording 60 people dying in the whole country. What about malaria? If we are to calculate, more than 500 people are dying of malaria in a day. And this is the problem that we should focus on, not diseases just because we've watched on TV. If anything, we should even go in the lab and check if we have that variant they are talking about, the Omicron variant, problems that we have, such as malaria and so on and so forth. So we need to focus on our problems. They say development has 3 facets. Number 1, understanding your environment. Number 2, devising tools to deal with your environment. Number 3, fashioning the skills to handle those tools as you deal with your environment. So this is where even education surrounds. We need to focus on understanding our environment and dealing with things with our environment, not with things that are coming from the UK or from South Africa and so on and so forth.
There, we pick this call. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. You're through to Camnet TV. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Reverend Manduni calling you from Lusaka.
Please go ahead with your contribution. We have Dr. Silumbe here in the studio, Leadership Movement President.
Good morning, Mr. President, President Silumbe.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so very much, sir. Good morning to you, the host.
Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Started, let me just, pick it up from what your guest, Dr. Silumbe, has been saying, because I'm equally passionate on the issue of how we seem to be handling the COVID issue. Okay, and particularly maybe bring into the new variant, Omicron virus. This amplification of the virus and what has been said by our administration via the Minister of Health has raised a lot of concern. First of all, just like Dr. Slunga said, many of us have not disputed the fact that yes, COVID is there. It is the way we seem to be handling this issue, because it is like we've put so much prominence on this issue of COVID against all other issues. I think that the health experts can attest to the fact that I think malaria has been one of the #1 killer diseases that is still in existence. I think just a fortnight ago, if I'm not mistaken, there was a report on one of our media houses that there has been an outbreak of malaria. And yet, there is very little being said about it. We have HIV, we have TB, we have diabetes, and all these very serious killer diseases. I can tell you for one, because, I've been at the hospital in most recent times. People that are suffering from diabetes, and how that sometimes even the issues of insulin are a challenge in our health institutions. I'll point out this on our in particular, and I think many others. So we have these issues, but yet we seem to be promoting so much the issue of the COVID and wanting to put these stringent restrictions, especially the ones that are seemingly infringing on the liberties and the rights of the citizens by telling them, look, if you don't have a job, you cannot access the government building. That is not right. We should be able to then say, let's just keep on, emphasizing and sensitizing the people regarding the issue of the 5 golden rules, masking up, hand washing, and so on, including getting the job back voluntarily and not putting up those conditions. The questions that I want to pose to your Mr. President is, what is your take, Dr. Silumbe? Because we've been existing, as I mentioned, for the last 58 years, or 57 years now. And you could attest to the fact that where we are coming from, our forefathers, had methods of how we dealt with issues. For example, in this flu, which is and all that, toilet community shouting at fish at diarrhea, you could get in a guava leaf or, the particles of the tree and you pour and drink and you'll be able to resolve. Why aren't we looking at, looking at our own, homemade solution to deal with this? Because for me, the other concern is that anyone who either has a question on the vaccine, they are made to shut up, or there will be some form of prevention. And even our own local people that seems to be suggesting that they have come up with something that could help deal with this virus. Okay. They are all shutted up and told, no, these have not been proven, that should be tested. But who determines what is the right virus? Because what is coming from there, we ourselves who are saying we do not have the capacity to manage, we seem not to also be looking at how we can improve our own capacity to be able to develop our own vaccines and help our own people, and not rely on what is coming from the outside, which we do not have the capacity to probably verify because of it.
All right.
So I think that is my take.
Thank you so much for calling. Dr. Silumbe, obviously he is agreeing with most of your sentiments with regard to the COVID-19 vaccinations, but then there are two questions, if not one. Like, what is so difficult about us going back to our roots and using the methods that parents were using to cure or to deal with issues to do with flu, maybe diarrhea and stuff? Is there a challenge?
Homegrown solutions. The biggest problem that we have, again, that's why leadership movement always looks at the fundamentals that have made us so lost. In whichever area you look at, we are seeing the footprints of the devil himself who brought up this thing, that is colonialism. Let's look at the education system. The education system that we have in Zambia is so colonized that people have we have not dealt with the fundamentals of education that spark development, such as understanding your environment, devising the tools to deal with your environment, fashioning the skills to handle those tools as you deal with your environment. Look at the graduates that we are producing in these universities. We produce graduates who have a colonial mindset in the way they understand things. For instance, we have engineers who cannot even make a needle, they cannot do anything, they can't produce. They are just meant to work on things that have been produced by foreigners. So this is where the problem and the virus has gone. We are supposed to get rid of the colonial education that we have. Let's look at the doctors. Actually, when you go to a doctor today, Zambian trained doctor wouldn't even tolerate anything to do with herbal medicine, even no matter how much you can prove that this thing works, because they've been taught that anything Zambian is not worth it, only foreign medicine. So that is where the problem is. And we cannot develop as a country until we deal with the root cause. They say for every hacking at the leaves, there is but one strike at the root. Where is the root? The root is decolonizing our minds. And we need to deal with the education sector. All sectors need to be decolonized. This is where everything is coming from. We have a colonial education that doesn't believe in what we have, doesn't understand the environment in which we are. And we have graduates who don't understand the Zambian environment. They don't have the skills to deal with our environment, or even to fashion the tools that specifically can deal with our environment. So this is what leadership movement preaches to correct, if we are to see tangible development that can bring the fruits of our lives in our country.
As we conclude, Dr. Silumbe, today is World AIDS Day, and you as a leader, obviously you also place health on the top of your agenda. Maybe your words or two to the Zambian people out there.
World AIDS Day, I think it's a very important day because we know that HIV/AIDS from history, it has really ravaged our country, and these are diseases that we need to be focusing on, and we need to make sure that we work towards ensuring that we do not participate in spreading the disease itself. And all those directives that are being preached towards ensuring that we curtail HIV/AIDS are the things that we need to uphold as the Zambian people, and be able to ensure that we protect our children, we protect ourselves from HIV/AIDS, and ensure that we live a healthy life.
Obviously, it's not campaign period, but you have a word or two to your people, members of the public out there, with why they should choose leadership movement.
Well, at this time, I may not even talk about why they should choose us, but they should look at, Zambians should look at themselves, have an introspection on what type of leadership and what type of future we want to have as a people. We need to ensure that we have a future that is in our hands. And how do we get to the future that is in our hands? We need to start by nurturing a Zambia that is self-sustained. How do we sustain ourselves? We need to ensure that we own our things, secure our assets, such as land, such as natural resources, and so on and so forth. If we do that, then we'll be able to deliver the great gift to future generations. We don't want to see a Zambia where our future children will look back and spit on us, spit on our graves that we were idiots, we didn't know what we were doing, we have just sold our country away, and we have destroyed everything that we inherited from our founding fathers. So this is an introspection that the Zambian people should have.
Okay, Patrick.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Dr. Silumbe, for making an appearance on Camnet TV. This is your first time, and we hope we'll continue interacting in that fashion to discuss pertinent issues affecting the nation. Well, our dear viewers, we have come towards that time when we have to say our bye-byes, and my colleague Sharon Kalimbula has already stated this is the first day of December. Happy new month. It has been Patrick Soko.
Happy new month indeed, Kid December.
Exactly. Okay, what's about this Kid December arrangement?
I think it's a South African thing that people, get excited.
Christmas, New Year.
Yes, we surely hope that you enjoy the festive season responsibly.
Exactly.
And do the right thing.
Don't drink and drive.
Exactly.
And,
don't talk on the phone and drive, you know. All right. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Thank you so much for choosing us. Join us again tomorrow as we bring another guest and talk about different issues affecting the nation. Thank you so much once again. Good morning.